Alrighty, guys. Thank you for your patience. Had some technical difficulties behind the scenes getting the stream connected and rolling. We should be good now. Let us know here in chat. We're assuming it says we're live here. Let's make sure we're actually connected here. So give me a thumbs up in chat if you can hear me. We'll go ahead and get started here. I see a lot of chats active here. I want to first start by highlighting Red Dozer with a $100 super chat saying, I'm doing the happy dance for Joel. Thankfully, we can see me. Thank you, Red, for that generous donation. And unfortunately, Joel's not on here tonight. He is enjoying his vacation, but he'll be back on here throughout the week and giving you guys updates as well. So I'll be sure to tell him that as well. And thank you, Red, for that donation. I see a bunch of thumbs up in chat. Awesome, guys. Good to know. Good to know. So let's go ahead and dive in here. We have quite a bit to talk about. You saw the tabs up there on the top of my computer. Running slow tonight. Maybe that's the reason why the stream didn't connect. We have some stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive in here into the models. So starting with our lake effect snow for the next couple of days, we actually have snow showers out there. I don't have a live radar right now. Perhaps I could pull one up according to the MRMS. Yeah, just a little bit. You can kind of make out just a little bit of snow showers up here in the southeast part of Michigan. They're showing up. Light snow will overspread and has overspread southeast Michigan. Some light accumulations, inch or two, maybe 2 or 3 inches close to Lake Huron up in Sanilac or perhaps Huron counties. But that's a very low chance of that happening. All right, going forward into the models here, we're going to look at the composite reflectivity into tomorrow afternoon especially. So this is the latest model run here. Let's go back to the 18Z, which is the one that goes out a little bit longer than the other runs. Let's go ahead and start at Tuesday morning. We're seeing lake effect snow for places like Munising up here with these blue bands and also down here along the West Michigan lakeshore. Now this setup is going to be a little bit different. If you caught the video on YouTube this morning, we're talking about the wind direction. This wind is more so oriented north to south, which is going to keep these lake effect bands a little bit more oriented north to south. Usually they're oriented kind of like northwest to southeast like this, but tomorrow and Wednesday, they're going to be kind of more so southerly facing. With that being said, we're going to see a response on the models that does show lake effect snow kind of pushing along the West Michigan lakeshore here, very close to that to the shoreline there. It's not going to spread inland like our other lake effect events have. So with that being said, accumulations will likely be tied and higher closer to the lake this time around. So keep an eye on that. This model does say lake effect snow continues into Wednesday afternoon, where we have another increase potentially into Wednesday afternoon. But our forecast we put out here, we'll show you guys in a second, goes until Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon-ish. We'll have to adjust that based on latest guidance. The model guidance that we use kind of stops around that Wednesday afternoon time frame. So we could see additional accumulations into Wednesday evening for our lake effect belts. Now, in terms of what the model is showing for accumulation-wise, I'll go ahead and pop that out here for you guys. Again, this is not a forecast, just what the model is depicting or what could happen. So we're seeing a couple things here. Let's go ahead and zoom in here for you guys. So the purplish pink banding is 6+ inches of snow. We see a couple areas up there by Traverse City, especially closer down toward Ludington could get a few more inches, but also up there by Munising in the UP and even perhaps Marquette. Marquette's not typically, I mean, they get snow up there, yes, but typically a lot of lake effect snow misses them just because of the way the winds are oriented. So even Marquette area could get in on this action for tomorrow and Wednesday. But notice a couple areas down there closer to the lakeshore, we're not seeing those bands spread inward, like toward Kalamazoo or Battle Creek or down here toward the Three Rivers area, for example. We're seeing it very close to the lake here in the lower part of Michigan. And up here, where we're toward like Gaylord, those areas, doesn't really see much of any snow at all either, just because of the way the winds are oriented. So a little bit different of a lake effect event with this, with the wind direction being a little bit different. So a few different areas could get impacted. Also keeping a close eye over here in the thumb, you notice just off on Lake Huron is a couple inches of accumulation there. So if that kind of shifts more so westward, the extreme eastern part of the thumb may get in on some action as well. Our forecast goes until Wednesday for this. We're going trace to 1. That includes today's snow in the southeast Michigan area. Some places I would not be shocked to see 2 or 3 inches by the time Wednesday rolls around. But the bulk of this should be up there in the Marquette, Munising, Grand Marais area. We're going conservative with this forecast with a 3 to 6 call. Also going down toward Traverse City, we're going 2 to 6 there. We went conservative just because we'd rather adjust up than adjust down. We don't want to start with 8 inches of snow and and have to adjust that down, close to 3 inches of a kind of downtrend. So we start small, we raise as needed. We'll adjust tomorrow on our final forecast map that we posted. But notice here along the West Michigan Lakeshore, we are seeing that little bit of an aqua hatching here. Joel had made this forecast map. He highlighted 1 to 3, with also noting that very localized banding could occur. We could see 0 in some spots, just going to be depending on where you're at and how these lake effect bands will behave in this wind profile. Other places here, I think I already covered 2 to 6. Up in the eastern part by Sault Ste. Marie, just a dusting for you guys up there. Newberry could sneak into 1 to 3. Over here in the western part, Ironwood, Ontonagon, Houghton counties, closer to 2 to 4, 1 to 3 areas up there. And again, that goes until Wednesday, roughly afternoon. We'll adjust if need be if Wednesday evening models start increasing totals. With that being said, let's move on to the rest of the week here. What do we have coming besides lake effect snow? Start with our temperatures. Let's go ahead and take a peek at our temperatures here across the state. This is based out of Lansing. They're going to be similar whether in Marquette, Lansing, Gaylord, Detroit, Grand Rapids. Doesn't really matter where you're at in the state. It's going to be below freezing. So starting with this grid here, this is a chart. On the left side of the chart down here at the bottom, you're going to see January 6th. That goes all the way out into January 21st. We see temperatures up here at the very top, and the yellow are your high temperatures, in blue are low temperatures. That's going to be in the 20s, low to mid 20s next 4 or 5 days. We're going to see a slight increase, or we can call it a heat wave if you guys want to, into the upper 20s and low 30s perhaps, but still should be below freezing. And then as we move toward January 15th, we see another drop off there back into the teens, and we could see some below 0 wind chills over the next 10 days or so. Would not be shocked by that at all, especially centered between, we're going to say, tomorrow evening and then also into that January 15th time frame, and then perhaps beyond that. But overall, cold winter, it's here. We're not strangers to this. We're used to the cold here. We're blessed, or not really blessed, but we were spoiled last year with our warm, mostly warm winters. But this year, it looks like we have an extended period of cold. And what about snow chances, though? I know a lot of you guys have been asking, we talked about an active January and snow chances, and now it's looking, perhaps a little bit more quieter. But we are going to still pump the brakes on that talk and say January is active. In fact, it's very active. We just had a system dump 8 to 12 inches of snow just off to our south. That could have been us. But thanks to a high pressure just to our north in Canada, that kind of forced the system off to our south. But had that high pressure not been there, this likely would have been us over the past couple of days. So that pattern for activity continues. We're going to see a break here for this week, but chances increase into the weekend. We're tracking another system here that we're kind of seeing models diverge on the overall consensus of this. Starting with the European, go ahead and take this full screen for you guys. The European is showing a little bit weaker system. So that's our system now moving off into the East Coast. That's what dumped about 8 to 12 inches of snow across Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. If we move into the weekend, though, let's keep an eye on the system to our south here. We're going to see another system develop here down in Texas. We could see snow and freezing rain in places of like Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. Now, it's not a slam dunk just yet, but it very well could get snow that far south. That's a crazy, not really crazy, but it's unusual down there. But this system does move up our direction. As it does so, it does weaken. We're going to go into Friday afternoon here. We're going to see lake effect snow continuing on the European model. This system starts to snow lightly. Keyword there is lightly in Michigan right around Friday night into Saturday morning. That system then kind of takes a right turn and kind of misses us further to the south, but it also could bring lake effect snow if it turns our winds northwesterly. We'll keep an eye on that. So lake effect belts again could get a few inches of snow this weekend. And then we notice another system here, a clipper system right here. That's our second system to watch. So system 1 down here, system 2 up here for Friday to Sunday time frame. And that's going to move in and perhaps dump some light snow again in portions of Michigan. Now, the European is weaker. The GFS is a little bit more aggressive. In fact, the GFS has good ensemble support for its solution. But in terms of precip type here, this is our system moving off to the east currently. let's go ahead and go to the Friday time frame. We see lake effect snow here through the week. And then here comes that system on the GFS model off to the south here. That's going to continue up our direction here Friday afternoon and evening. And it does coat Michigan in a couple inches of snow. So the European doesn't have this, more so, a brief dusting to an inch perhaps. But the GFS says we could get a few inches out of this storm. We'll track it. We'll keep an eye on things. And if anything does look to be concerning in terms of snowfall amounts, you guys are going to hear it from us, not perhaps first, but perhaps the best reliable solution to offer you guys roughly that midweek time frame, Wednesday, Thursday area. We should have a good idea. With that being said, future, I have some people asking me on a Detroit area in terms of what are we expecting for our snowfall. And this is a great graph to kind of show you guys between both models what we expect in terms of snowfall here. So this is what we call a chiclet chart. It's confusing, I know, at first. It's good. It's cool to look at, though. We're going to see, again, the date is on the bottom left, starts today, Monday, and it goes out all the way to Wednesday, January, we're going to say 22nd. So it goes 22 days in advance here. And each chiclet in this box here is the model output showing you how much snow this model shows that we're going to get. So on the left side of your screen, we're having model member number 1 on the very bottom, and it goes all the way up to model number 30, each giving solutions here for its snowfall rates. This is Detroit. We're seeing an increase here right around that January 11th timeframe where that clipper system comes in. That's that system moving in. And then again, we see another response right around here, January 15th. We could see another shot at snow. And then roughly speaking, we're kind of watching that January 20th timeframe as well for you guys in Southeast Michigan for snowfall as well. So 3 dates to watch, really. Nothing looks significant at this point. I think our best chance at a coating would be definitely centered around this weekend, as we have 2 systems to watch, especially if the GFS model can come to fruition, perhaps maybe 2 to 4 at best. Nothing huge, but still some snow for you guys in Southeast Michigan in terms of your snow lovers. So beyond that, we stay cold, we stay active. This week will be a little bit of a break for you guys, exception to lake effect. Next week, we'll ramp up our snow chances into the weekend, especially. Going into the long-term talk here, January continues to look cold and also active in the late half of the month. But I also want to touch on a few other things here before we take some questions. Number one, the drought monitor. You guys remember we had a lot of rain before our snow chances here, and that really did make a dent. Southeast Michigan back into abnormally dry conditions, and then moderate drought continues for much of the state. This map will get updated on Thursday. We'll talk about it again next Monday Night Weekly. But overall, still in a drought here. We still could use rain and or snow. The CPC guidance over the next couple of weeks here continues to highlight Michigan in near normal or below average temperatures. Now, remember, normal here is roughly 28 to 31 degrees for January. So that's going to be your normal temperatures. So even though you're seeing that near normal, it's still going to be around or just below freezing. But this CPC guidance here for January 12th to 16th keeps us leaning below average. 8 to 14 day continues that trend, especially across southeast or southern Michigan. Then the week 3 to 4 outlook continues that for, again, south central Michigan. So overall consensus here for the rest of January is going to be cooler than average temperatures. And as far as precipitation goes, we are leaning above average in terms of our last half of the month. So keep that in mind. Below average temperatures and above average precipitation. Snow chances? Maybe. We'll get there. We'll see. With that being said, I will take some questions, guys. And Caleb, if I miss anything, feel free to chime in here.
Yeah, I think we got it covered here for the most part. Let's jump in the chat here and see who we have with us here tonight. We got Tommy. We got Mike. Welcome, guys. We got Trisha in here. Julie in here. What's up, guys? Feel free to put your questions in the chat here. We'll try to answer those here as we can here. So go ahead and do that. And again, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us here on your Monday evening. Always great to hang out with you and be with you here tonight.
Absolutely. And also, I wanted to do this just because we were late, 10 minutes late, 11 minutes late. I don't know when we hop on here, like 13 after.
It was close to, yeah.
We're going to give away our monthly allotment of free memberships. So we're going to go ahead and do that here as a way of saying our apologies to you. So let's go ahead and give these out here. So if you are a subscribed to our YouTube channel, unfortunately on Facebook, we can't give them to you guys, but YouTube gives us options to donate our give away memberships. So if you are subscribed on YouTube, you will have a chance at getting this. We'll give these away here in about 2 or 3 minutes. So if you guys want to switch over from Facebook to YouTube and hit the subscribe button to have a chance at these, you are welcome to do that. We'll do it at 7:30 on the dot. So got to pay late fees. Yeah, Axe. I don't know what was wrong with my computer. It was a slow going and I couldn't load anything. So it was just, we're not going to talk about it.
Computers being computers. We'll just go with that. Dewey asking you guys go over the science behind the freezing drizzle we got this morning. Yeah, quite a few areas reported some light freezing drizzle this morning. That's pretty common in Michigan in wintertime, especially our biggest influencer with that is actually our lakes. As we have lake effect convection moving over the lakes, keep in mind those clouds form from super cold water droplets. The lake waters are relatively warm this time of year. A lot of water temperatures are in the 40s. That water vapor moves, condenses in the clouds, but sometimes you get water droplets that don't fully condense. They stay liquid. And in terms of super cooled water droplets, they're liquid water droplets, but they're super cooled below 32 degrees, but remain a liquid. Sometimes as that convection moves on land, the super cold water droplets can get rather heavy and they can fall, giving you freezing drizzle, as in liquid water droplets or drizzle that falls and freezes on contact. So pretty common to see here in the wintertime, especially along the lake effect snow belts here in Michigan. We see it along the I-94 corridor all the way up to Traverse City on 131. So yeah, it does happen from time to time. It can be dangerous. It can be under the radar. A lot of times we don't see this on radar, which is why your reports are very helpful there to the National Weather Service to let them know that that is occurring when you do see that. So.
All right, 5 memberships going out because it's 7:30 here, just to keep on track with our time here. So here comes 5 right now.
All right, drum roll.
We got Ronnie, James, Jane, Techno, and Wendy. Welcome to the channel, guys. Those memberships expire automatically in 30 days. If you would like to renew that, it's on you to do. It should prompt you or send you an email to do so if you are interested in doing so. Members do get exclusive forecasts. We do every single, usually every single day. And they also get access to members only live streams and stickers here for our YouTube members to interact with during the stream. So I see Evan gifting 10 memberships. So thank you, Evan, for that. Appreciate your support and welcome to the channel for those 15 of you who just got gifted memberships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think Michigan will get a big snowstorm in January or February? Well, we definitely had our first shot yesterday as the system just moved off to our south. Overall chances, I think, are for a big storm. I think the end of January into early February is a good time frame, basing it off a couple things I'm seeing in the long-term pattern. But again, I don't really see anything short-term to say, hey, major snow coming. Everything I'm seeing is more so clipper systems, which are usually pretty light in nature, 1 to 4, maybe 5 at best inches in one setting. So we'll keep you updated though. And we do videos here on YouTube as well. So feel free to keep on watching those. We'll have updates on systems we're watching. We talked about the system this weekend. Keep an eye on that as well. So we'll have updates leading up to that as well, if that's trending our direction or not. Evan, back for another month. Thank you, Evan, for continuing membership here at Michigan Storm Chasers YouTube. And Red Dozer with 10 memberships gifted. Thank you, Red, for that. Appreciate all of you guys' support. And we'll go ahead and gift our last 5 here, just to get it out of the way. Joel's probably going to kill me for going through these all in one day, 6 days into the month, but I'm feeling generous tonight. So let's go ahead and give 5 more for you guys.
All right, drum roll.
If you guys got questions as well for the upcoming weather here in Michigan, feel free to drop them in chat here. We got tons of stuff pulled up here to go through. So if you guys got questions, feel free. Don't be shy. All right, there's our final 5 that YouTube gives us to gift. Unfortunately, we can't gift anymore. But for those of you who just got gifted, let's see if it pops in here. It's not popping in yet for me. There it is. Oh, those are Evan's gifts just popping in. Does Michigan get inversions like the ones I lived with in Salt Lake City? Yes, we do get inversions, actually. Caleb, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, inversions are actually very common here in the state of Michigan, especially this time of year, wintertime, fall, early springtime as well. And a lot of you may be asking, what is an inversion? Well, an inversion is when you have two different layers of different temperatures. Oftentimes, colder air likes to settle down at the surface while warmer air advects aloft. Warmer air, being lighter than colder air, lifts a little bit north or above us, and colder air likes to sink down to the surface. And a lot of times when you get that, you get fog. You get a lot of fog. Here in Michigan, we're known for our fog in the wintertime. And the Great Lakes have an influence on our temperatures too. A lot of times near the lake shore, you can get temperature inversions off the lake, which can produce heavy advection fog as well. So inversions are very common here in the state of Michigan, and even our winter systems can bring inversions in too. That's what gives us our different precip types. Here a couple weeks ago, we had a winter system come with an inversion that brought freezing rain, snow, and rain all across this lower peninsula of Michigan. So we had it all. So inversions are actually quite common here in the state of Michigan.
So I also want to keep in mind that this was the sounding X-ray of the atmosphere, as we call it, and there was actually a inversion this morning, if I'm not mistaken, Caleb. So down here we see the two lines here that are really close together. That's our moisture that kind of sparked the freezing drizzle in southeast Michigan. We get above that, it's pretty dry. And then we see a little bit of a cutoff back to the right. That's a more so an inversion there. This is confusing, I know, but just kind of, we had an inversion this morning, just kind of bringing it in here and showing you guys.
Think of this as like a vertical slice in the atmosphere. So we're looking up. So that red line is your temperatures. So we're looking at temperature profiles from the ground all the way up to 30,000+ feet. So you see that red line kind of bend to the right a little bit. Temperatures kind of warm or stay around minus 10 degrees Celsius as they go up. That's normally temperature is gradually cool as you go up in height. In this case, they say the same or gradually warmed a little bit before trending colder. So that's an inversion, and that's what an inversion would look like. This is called a sounding or a skew-T, and this is what it would look like on there. So yeah, they happen all the time. Sometimes we don't even know they're there, but they're there.
Traveling from Lansing to Marquette this weekend or this week. Any recommendation on which day would be best with the expected snows? So I would say, I mean, tomorrow morning would be your best bet, but lake effect still really ramps up in the afternoon. So I would probably say Thursday or Friday, based on what I know for right now. Lake effect still will probably end Wednesday some point, perhaps early Thursday. So I think Thursday and Friday would be your best shot at getting up there.
Yeah, probably the heaviest lake effect will stay probably west of I-75 there. But once you get into the UP, lake effect snow showers will pick up quite a bit as you head east towards Marquette, or towards west towards Marquette, rather.
Yeah, and if you leave from Lansing, you're going to be good up until probably the UP.
Yeah.
Only driving through just snow showers. So overall travel shouldn't be impacted too much. Obviously, if there's snow on the roads, it's going to be slick. But this isn't going to be a foot of snow that's going to, shut down roads and travels and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be a huge event by any means. But any snow can make slick conditions, as we've already learned this year, with 1-2 inches of snow causing major pileups and so on and so forth.
Probably the biggest thing with lake effect snow bands, just prepare for reduced visibilities. You go from having clear visibility to visibility less than a half a mile at times. So do be cautious of those. And as lake effect snow showers can put down some heavy snowfall rates at times too. So do you think there's a chance that the system could change and give the middle of Michigan more snow? I assume you're talking about the system coming up from the south this weekend. It's possible. We're still a little ways out for that to know for sure. Any trends north or south will have grave impacts. I mean, there's chances, Michigan may not get any snow at all. And there's also a chance we may see an inch, maybe, an inch, maybe upwards of 5. We just don't know yet. And we won't know until we get closer. But the models have a really good agreement that there is going to be a winter storm late week. We just don't know tracking intensity yet. And those details won't be known until we get 2 days out. So more details.
It's going to be a battle.
Get closer.
A battle of the models here too, because the Europeans weaker and more south, keeping the heaviest snow south. So that's the European solution. If you go to the GFS model, it brings it much further north here into Michigan. So it's going to be a battle here because, like Caleb said, we could end up getting nothing out of this. It could miss us to the south, or we could get a few inches. Comparing, I don't want to compare accumulations here, but just for funsies,
Yeah, another thing to note here too is you look on that map, what you don't see, what we had here for this last system, there's no high pressure to the north. So a stronger system naturally pulls to the left. So a stronger system would bring it further north, a weaker system would bring it further south. So just different variables that are yet to be figured out, and that'll help determine the future track of this system as well. So.
And here's that snowfall as well. This is a European solution, given the bulk of the snow to the Ohio Valley, staying well south of Michigan. But if I switch over here to the GFS, you're going to see a little bit different solution here where it kind of blankets the entire state in a few inches of snow. Here's the GFS solution. That's given most of Michigan 2 to 4 or so. So
right.
Which model is going to win? We don't know. We're going to watch it. We're going to bring you guys updates when we have more confidence. But it is something to watch, but that's all it is right now.
Yep, right now it's just a trend. It's just a system worth watching. We won't have specifics until we get closer and we get some more data. But good question, though. I know a lot of guys are anxious for snow, especially those of you in southeast lower Michigan who have not had a good snow yet for some time. So fingers crossed for you guys who want it, and hopefully we'll get some here.
But it's snowing in southeast Michigan right now, Caleb.
It is. Yeah, that's another thing to talk about. You guys are actually getting lake effect snow in the thumb. It doesn't happen all too often. This is thanks to our winter storm that just missed our state. We get that backside flow on the north side of the low where winds are actually out of the northeast instead of the northwest. So that is actually bringing lake effect snow, although light, lake effect snow nonetheless off of Lake Huron. So rather than lake effect snow in Canada, we're getting it here in Michigan. So there you go. Kind of a special treat there for you guys in the thumb.
Do you guys put more trust in the GFS or the European? That is a great question, and it is different for every single system that we watch. Now, typically speaking, the European is the most reliable, historically speaking, with winter systems. It's a gold standard, so to speak. The GFS is usually looked at as being behind the 8 ball and kind of caves to the European solution. That's not what happened, though, with this last system. The GFS had a pretty consistent signal in terms of its snowfall. European was too far south of it, and then they kind of converged on each other and kind of met in the middle. So overall, this winter, I would lean personally more so to the GFS for long-term systems, but when you get to the short-term, the Euro usually wins. It's just
another thing to keep in mind too, these are long-term forecast models, so they're really used to look at trends. Once you get closer, they're limited by the data entered into the model. And so when you get closer to these systems occurring, you really need to look at the meteorology behind the model. Where's this data coming from, and really look at what variables you have in play that could actually affect this system. For example, on this last system, was one model saying we're going to have a really strong high pressure and it's going to bring this system south of the Ohio River versus another one that has a weaker one. What are those actual data points and how might they actually affect the system? Those are a lot of things that a forecast model can get you close, but they're not going to get you exact. And a lot of it comes down to near-term forecasting based on the data that you actually have right in front of you too. So long-term models are used to look at trends, and both have weaks and strong suits in their forecast. But a lot of times it comes down to near-term data and how that data may affect the actual snow near-term. So.
See that question that we talked about, the weekend system, I think it was actually talking about the lake effect snow. So the overall chances of mid-Michigan getting that snow is quite unlikely just because our wind direction is more northerly oriented this time versus westerly. So that's going to keep most of the accumulation tucked to the West Michigan lakeshore areas. So unfortunately, no, mid-Michigan will not get, or likely not get in on any accumulation. Snow showers, yeah, probably, maybe. I'm not going to say probably, but more perhaps. But accumulation-wise, not much.
Yep. Overall,
yes, we had a sunset
banding.
So. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, overall with this system, some lighter banding is expected. We're not really seeing some big convective bands that carry inward. These are be scattered and lighter in nature overall. We may have a few organized bands try to take shape, perhaps across the UP and northern lower. But overall, the general consensus is these are going to be lighter and more scattered in nature. So they'll move around and deviate with the winds a little bit more. So. All right. Any other questions you guys have here? Feel free to put them in the chat here. We'll get them answered here for you for the next few minutes before we hop out here. Great to see you in here. We got Melissa in here, Penny in here now. We got Jane, Trisha. Great to see you guys. Feel free to put those questions in chat here and try to get those answered for you. Ryan, is there anything else we missed here tonight?
I don't believe we have. In terms of the weather.
Yeah, pretty uneventful week here, really near term. Other than we're watching that system here for this weekend, but again, exact tracks on that won't be known until we get closer. We could see a few inches, we may not. We just won't know until we get closer, unfortunately. So, something to watch there.
Devin has a good question here. Is lake effect becoming less severe since lake temperatures are rising? So, Devin, that actually it does occur that way. That when lake water is cool, lake effect does become less intense, but this upcoming system, no, it's not going to be the factor with this. And this is only because we're not going to have as strong of a system, perhaps, or there's not. I'm trying to form my words here.
So, since he asked, is lake effect becoming less severe since lake temps are rising? Actually, warmer waters can actually lead to more intense lake effect snow, yes, given the correct environment. So you have to have temperature differences between the lake water and the air above. I think 15 degrees is your magic number or more of a difference to really get lake effect snow up and going. Right now, our water temperatures in Lake Michigan, even a lot of the waters are close to 40 degrees. So if your lake water is 40 degrees at the surface, but your air temperature is, in the 20s, if not 30s, there's enough of a temperature difference there between the lake water and the upper atmosphere to allow that water to want to evaporate. It's going to want to lift and condensate into clouds in that colder air, and that enhances your lake effect snow. So actually, warmer lake waters can actually lead to more enhanced lake effect snow. So as lake waters warm, and we've seen a warming trend over the last few years, that'll lead to more open waters as well, slower icing. So that can lead to more open waters and therefore more lake effect snow. But again, it depends on the year and depends on the setup at play. So, but long story short, warmer waters can lead to more lake effect snow.
And when water is cool, they will kind of shut off the lake effect machine, so to speak.
Yep.
What is Graupel? We call them Dippin' Dots.
That's a great. I like to call them Dippin' Dot snow. That's just me personally liking Dippin' Dots. Graupel, another name for it is popcorn snow too. How Graupel forms, a lot of people get it confused with hail, just because it bounces like hail, but it is not hail. Graupel actually originates as a snowflake, but as a snowflake falls through the atmosphere, it interferes with supercooled water droplets. And those water droplets adhere to the snowflake and actually form a shell around that snowflake, almost a thin layer of ice. And it can accrete to that snowflake, making the snowflake heavier and denser. And as it falls, it bounces. And that is how you get Graupel. So a lot of times it looks like little balls or beads as it hits the ground, but it's softer than sleet. That's because it's actually snow. Think of it as putting turtle shell chocolate on your ice cream. You get a little bit of a shell on your ice cream, and that's the same thing that's going on in the atmosphere with your snowflakes. And there's Joel, everybody. Joel decided to pop in here, so let's give him a round of applause here tonight.
Hello. I just got back from dinner.
Joel, I don't know if you caught this comment or not, but Red did a $100 super chat and said doing the happy dance for Joel. So I just want to point that out for you.
Yeah. It worked. I'm here.
It worked. Thus he has came.
Live from Florida.
We're actually just about to, I think, wrap things up here, but if anybody has any questions, we're here at your disposal for us, so feel free.
Yeah, Summer, actually, Graupel is actually not considered hail. It can imitate hail a little bit, but it actually forms completely different. Hail originates as a raindrop, and it actually forms in the updraft of the thunderstorm. As it bounces around, it freezes, and then accretes more ice onto it, versus a snowflake that falls and accretes ice on it as it falls through super cold water droplets. So one forms through an updraft, one does not. So that's your difference there. Trisha asks, will Lake Michigan freeze mostly? We may get some ice. Really, no one really knows. Right now, lake temperatures are actually fairly warm. Right now in the 30s and 40s. There's actually, over the Great Lakes as a whole, there is only 2.67% ice cover over the entirety of the Great Lakes. That includes Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. There's not a lot of ice out there. Historically, we're around 10 to 15% for this time of year, so we are below average, but we do expect that ice cover to come up a little bit in terms of percentages with this colder air that we have in place to stay through January. But how much ice? Only time will tell on that. We are coming off a near record year in terms of lake water temperatures, so that'll slow the ice percentage down a little bit too. So only time will tell. All right, I don't see any other questions here. Ryan, do you have anything else? Joel, how about you?
Not really.
Not really.
We're under an extreme cold warning, or just a cold warning here tomorrow, because it's supposed to get down to 30 overnight here in Central Florida. So
yeah, for those of you that don't know or maybe jealous, Joel's actually in Florida right now. So it's crazy to think that, it's weird to think that they complain that it's cold when it's 40 degrees. You know, as a Midwesterner, I kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, I kind of don't. But that's just me. But it is pretty cold down there, even for them.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys, we're gonna wrap things up here, I believe, unless anybody has any last minute questions to pop in chat. Before we do, we have some shout outs for our sponsors, starting with Lifestyle Exteriors, based out of Lansing and Traverse City area. Numbers on your screen to call. They do a lot of roofing and exterior work on your homes. We also have Storm Guard. We have based out of Oakland, Macomb counties, also the North Metro Detroit areas. Again, numbers on your screen to call. They do a lot of roofing and construction needs on your home. Got Pro Powder for all your powder coating needs out of South Haven. And also we have Titan Auto Detailing based out of, I believe, the North Metro Detroit areas. Also, our final is Cats. Thank you, Cats, for sponsoring our videos, as well as Storm Guard, Lifestyle, and Pro Powder, as well as Titan. With that being said, you can sponsor us as well. Feel free to contact us. Our email is contact@michiganstormchasers.com. Pop out the chat here. I don't see any more questions here. So with that being said, I believe we are going to pop out of here. You guys enjoy your evening. We'll catch you guys next time here at Michigan Storm Chasers.
Happy night, y'all.
Take care.